What's going on, everybody? Rob here, aka Trav2323, TRAV2323. But if you Google search me, it comes up as Rob here. Anyways, you want a boat? You got trailer maintenance to do. In a couple weeks, we're gonna be taking the boat out the water, Bayliner Element, and let me show you this right here. This right here was rusting out. I sanded and I just clear coated, and you see it's maintaining really good. But right here and right here, and this is just surface rust right here, surface rust. But this is the worst rust spot that I have over here, right here. And then it troubles me because there's probably a rust spot on the inside, so but I'm not gonna unbolt it. I'm just gonna get all this surface rust that I can right here. And then of course, I mean, there's really nothing I could do with this. This will last forever as is, but you know, you start to get the rust over on the springs. All right, so what my main concern right now is, other than that, the trailer's fine like it is. I'm gonna go ahead and work on this right here. See, this screw's really bad right there. Look at that. That screw's really bad right there. But that bolt will last forever probably. This trailer is probably 2 years old now. But I want to get all this done nice. And the bad thing is it's on the bolts, so I'm not going to take the bolts off, but I'm just going to clear coat over everything. I'm going to get the rust off and clear coat over everything. And what I use for the rust is vinegar and water. So let me get that solution. All right, I don't get paid from Eastwood, but I do use a lot of Eastwood products. Hint, hint, Eastwood. All right, so here's your options when you're working with rust. Now this is heavy rust right here. All right, that's heavy rust right there. And this right here is surface rust, where we don't need anything too aggressive over here. And this right here, I'm gonna try the other type. I got a bunch of different secrets, not secrets, but what I use for rust. So let's go over it. Rustoleum has their gel rust remover right here. Gel rust remover, it takes 30 minutes. That's Rustoleum gel rust remover. So that seems like it's pretty good. Now this one right here, Eastwood products are really good. Eastwood Fastetch, ideal for prep painting, powder coating, leaves iron phosphate coating, promotes adhesion, prevents rust. So this seems like it's really good. Okay, then also my homemade concoction, if you don't got any of that, is vinegar, distilled white vinegar and water. I put like 50-50 vinegar and water, and you leave it for 15 to 20 minutes. Now here's another thing. If you're using vinegar and water, if it's something you're gonna paint anyways, use a red scrubby. Use a red scrubby, at least a red scrubby, because you gotta get the vinegar and water in there. So what we're gonna do over here is this right here, we'll use the vinegar and water. This right here, we're gonna use the vinegar and water. In here, we're gonna use the Fastetch. In here, look at in there, I got an internal frame coating, but look at, you know, that's just all right. It's always gonna happen. It's always gonna happen. You know what, unless your trailer is stored indoors, this is outside 24/7, so it's not the trailer's fault. This is outside 24/7. I even put Caranuba wax on the bunk right here to protect it from the sun. Okay, but this right here, I'm probably gonna use this Rustoleum. We'll see how this works right here. And this right here. Now if the Fastetch works better in the front, we're gonna go ahead and put the Fastetch in the front. Let me get my coffee out the way. But my trailer is stored outside 24/7. Another thing you should do with your trailer, which I do in the wintertime, it makes no sense I didn't do in the summertime, is I didn't lift it up off the ground. So see, this, it hasn't happened here yet, but you start to get dry rot. Believe it or not, when it just sits on the ground and it's really hot outside, the ground tries to absorb whatever liquid it can, and it'll dry rot your tires. So you need to lift it off the ground. A lot of people say, well, I did it the first couple years, but after that I stopped, you know. So you don't want your tires to get flat even. So I'll jack it up and I lift it off the ground. Right now we're gonna be pulling the boat out in a couple weeks, so I want to have this prepared, so when I pull the boat out, it's prepared for over the winter. So this is the one I'm gonna use. Oh, and after you finish everything, look at this. Textured rust encapsulator, matte black. Applied directly over a rusted surface, prevents rust from spreading, penetrates deep, cures fast, hides imperfections. This right here, we're gonna put this back here. Aha, how about that? Aha. But one more thing you gotta do is when you're getting rid of rust, you have to have a hose with water. After you apply all this anti-rust stuff, if you don't wash it off really good and let it dry, it's gonna start eating your metal, and that's what you don't want that. All right, so let me get this out the way because I'm gonna spray this right here and shake everything up really good, because I know vinegar is in a lot of this stuff, but just shake it really good and make sure that everything's mixed up. And all my rust stuff sits for a long while because I don't do it often, so I'm gonna shake it up. And then this one right here, we're just gonna try right here. Let me open it up. You can follow the video to see how it works. This one says 30 minutes, and this is a gel, so that's pretty cool that it's a gel. I'm trying to get it in there because I know there's rust in there. See if there's anything on this side. Get it underneath there. And then I'm gonna rust encapsulate this after it's done. So this is 30 minutes for the gel, and that I'm just gonna leave on there. I'm just gonna leave that one on there. Now this right here is the Fastetch we're gonna grab, and with the Fastetch, I'm going to use a red scrubby on the Fastetch, and we're going to put it over here on the heavy rusted things in there and in there. Now this right here, you see you got surface rust on it? That's surface rust, but it will spread. So let me put this down, see if I can get this to stand this right here. Try to get this the best I can. Maybe like that. Okay, put it up a little bit. So with this Fastetch, shaking this up. This does come in a spray bottle also, and this is an Eastwood product, and I do there's an Eastwood in my area, and I love shopping at Eastwood in my area. But you still are gonna have to let it sit for like 15 minutes for it to convert anything. The bad thing with this one is it's not a gel. Now this right here, I actually painted over before. Where I can't reach with the Fastetch, I might put some gel in there. Okay, now there's that right down here, so I'm gonna go ahead and put some in there also. Yee owza, wear a glove with that Fastetch. Oh man, that is burning my hand right now. But since I'm here on my fence, you can't see it in there, but I always say with these big fences, you gotta treat them. So I'm putting some Fastetch on here because I know I gotta paint over that right there. Anything that's gonna cause rust, you gotta get it done before the winter. And look at it, it actually came clean. It came clean. Let me, I gotta get the keys. With the Fastetch, it completely got the rust all the way off. And I say the same thing with your fence. This fence right here was like $1,200. But what I do before the winter every season is I check where the rust spots are, and I get rid of the rust, and I put something over. This is galvanized spray I have over it right now. This is a galvanized spray. So I just make sure that there's no rust on this fence, because you paid all that money for the fence. You got to keep it from rusting. So right now I got to galvanize, like the paint came off right here. So this all got to be treated, because this winter that right there will rust out again. So since I had this anyways, I'm just gonna go ahead and, this is the Fastetch. Look at, all the rust is gone already with the Fastetch. Red scrubby Fastetch, all the rust is gone already. Then this one you leave for about 15 minutes. Now this says it's actually ready. I'm gonna read the full directions, but it says it's ready to coat. All right, let's get to the vinegar. One bad thing about this, it says do not allow to dry, keep wet for 30 minutes. So that's like almost impossible, almost like spot treating. But I'm gonna start with the vinegar and water, and we're gonna go from there, because I could already see I wiped down these leaf springs over here, and these leaf springs, the rust is almost completely gone off of the leaf springs, almost completely gone. Now this right here, bolt, yeah, I gotta put a little more in there. It does feel like there's a little texture to it. And this is the Fastetch from Eastwood. That right there, I need a little more Fastetch right there and right there. You see it's starting to convert right there, but I gotta put some more right there. But I was actually just scrubbing it in with the red scrubby, and heck, scrubbing it with the red scrubby took most of the rust off. Vinegar and water. I do a half and half solution. You don't need a lot, although it looked like a lot right there. I do half vinegar and half water. Do not put on straight vinegar, it'll eat through your rust. Now this one right here, for sure you have to wash off and rinse off really good, because this, I put so much more in there than I needed. like a half and half solution of vinegar and water. Mix it up, don't get it in your eyes. And I see all this right here, that's what I'm gonna get off. And what I brought for that is a toothbrush. No, this is not the toothbrush I use. But alright, with that little crack, the toothbrush ain't getting in there really good, so I'm using the other half of this red scrubby. Then I'm getting in there really good. If the toothbrush ain't getting in there good enough for you, you could use something that's more solid to get. Alright, you're supposed to give everything 15 to 30 minutes. I didn't think the gel was working good enough back there, or working fast enough, so I took a wire brush and I scrubbed the gel in there, and a lot of the rust came off, and now it's just the gel sitting on there. I will have to admit though that Eastwood one, I scrubbed with a red scrubby in here, and look at that, it worked really good. There's one little spot probably that I could re-scrub again right there, but the rest of it worked really good. And it does look like, I mean, honestly, the surface looks like it's ready to paint as is. It just completely worked really good. And this is another one that I did with the Eastwood Fastetch, and you see right in there a little spot that was a rust spot. It's not rusted anymore, and it looks like it's ready to coat over. So I do think the Eastwood Fastetch worked really good. Now the vinegar and water worked really good also though. The vinegar and water is still drying. The vinegar and water, look at it, there's no rust there, no rust coming back, no rust forming. So the vinegar and water worked really good, and that Eastwood one is ready to paint already. And then the fence that I did is ready to paint already too. See that? That's ready to go. Now I do have a Eastwood rust encapsulator. I got a clear one and a black one. Since I'm gonna open the black one now, I'm gonna start with the black one and just paint that little bit with the black one. Paint away from the car, or away from the wind, not in with the wind. But I'm not gonna open it up all the way until I'm ready to spray everything down. So I am gonna rinse it off really good, is what I am gonna do. I'm gonna rinse it off really good, and then I'm gonna spray this textured rust encapsulator matte black finish directly over surface rust. Prevents rust from spreading, penetrates deep, cures fast, hides imperfections, uniform appearance. So like I said, with this over here, I'm actually not going to ever have to take those bolts off right there. Okay, so what I am going to do is I'm just spraying over them. I mean, if it's going to be all black anyways, and I'd rather have no rust than to have all the rust coming back every year. So I'm going to spray this on, and you can visit me next year, just like this summer. You can visit me for the VS 721 in a couple of weeks, and we're going to see how easy it is to get the algae off the bottom of the boat. I'll be back with you in a bit. This is going to be my thumbnail. Now, before I put on this textured rust encapsulator, I am going to clean the surface off. But you do anything you're doing for the rust with vinegar and the water, or the rust encapsulator. Rust encapsulator says use the Eastwood's Fastetch, which I do have some Fastetch, but I got a whole lot of area to cover over here. Some of it already started converting to black, but you need a fresh bucket of water. So make sure you get all that vinegar, and make sure your rag is completely clean, because you don't want any more vinegar and water on it. But we're going to use this bucket to clean all the spots, and then we're going to treat it with the rust encapsulator. This is why the only thing you could use over here kind of is gloss, because look at where that rust is still. That's like a tight squeeze. That's a really tight squeeze. So this right here, you got to keep really good greased up, and even if you put rust encapsulator and try to get it down there, this is a tight squeeze. So you can't put anything really in there that's going to stop it from working like it should and getting harder to push this together, because it's just going to scrape it off. So normally all I'd put over there is gloss, but gloss really did work pretty good where it's not rubbing, but where it was rubbing, the gloss didn't. You got to keep retreating it. And then also, this is where I put the vinegar, and you see the rust is gone. Rust is completely gone where I put the vinegar. This was the Fastetch spot over here. It's completely converted. You see it? Completely converted. And that Fastetch just amazed me. Amazing. Fastetch with a red scrubby. You're gonna paint it over anyways. But look at this. Of course, there's that little piece right there, but the rest of it, look at it. It looks like it's already painted. It looks like it's already painted. That was Fastetch from Eastwood with a red scrubby. Now this was the gel one that I wound up scrubbing with a wire brush. I think I'm gonna have to do it again because this one's not completely done down here. So if it's light surface rust, my opinion, you'd get away with the vinegar and water. You'd get away with the vinegar and water for light surface rust. There's vinegar and water right there. Light surface rust is gone. If it's down in places like this, you do need wire brushes. I could not get down there, and you gotta mess up the rust. You gotta scratch up the rust. You gotta get as much of the rust off that you can, or you gotta apply the rust dissolver with a red scrubby or a wire brush, because it didn't even touch this right here until I got everything up with the wire brush. And then I got this towel out here because I am gonna spray everything with a black rust encapsulator, but I just like, there's a reflector there, so I'm just gonna kind of cover it with my hand as I'm spraying that with the rust encapsulator. So anything that is not moving parts like that, I'm gonna hit with the rust encapsulator. Then that's gonna be a year later video next fall to see how the rust encapsulator worked out. But I think it's gonna be fine. It's not undercoating. Undercoating is just undercoating. This has an anti-rust material in it. Just a bucket of fresh water to wipe everything off, to get everything off, and then I'm gonna hose it down with the hose. And I'm not gonna put the rust encapsulator on until everything's dried off. I'm gonna hose it off really good to make sure I got all the anti-rusting stuff off of it, because with that anti-rusting stuff on, guess what, it's gonna keep eating your metal. So you just gotta make sure it gets all off, everything you want to stop it. And it seems like the vinegar and oil wasn't as harsh as the rust encapsulator. See, like this right here, that could have been scrubbed down a lot better. That probably could have been with a wire brush, but I could just gloss this. I can't encapsulate it. So I do think the wire brush did help out a lot, but this didn't really convert. You see, there's no rust there. What I'm gonna do with that right now is I'm gonna get some Fastetch and put some Fastetch on it, and then when I'm spraying the rest of it, I'm gonna hold off on that part for a bit to see if the Fastetch will do something. That was the Rustoleum rust remover. So this is the Fastetch I'm gonna put on it right now. I just rubbed it with the Fastetch and it started working already. So I think the vinegar and water for light and the Fastetch for harder. The Rustoleum gel, I think it was more ease of use, that you could just set it and forget it or scrub it in there, and it doesn't dry as fast. So everything got to be washed off, and I'm actually going to wash it on high pressure. You don't want any of this rust removal crap left on at all. So anywhere it was at, you got to get it off really good. Otherwise it's going to keep messing with your stuff. And like in there, see in there, I am going to use the rust remover on the inside. I am going to put the rust remover on the inside of that pipe. There's actually, Eastwood has an internal frame coating, but I'm going to put this rust encapsulator. Going over the trailer, I seen a couple of the dings. How you get those dings in the middle? They're just rocks that pop up and hit the side of your trailer. So I did see a couple of the dings that I'm not going over everything cleaning. I'm just going to spray a little bit of the rust encapsulator on them.